For thousands of years, they've been sitting out there in the desert, these silent giants, posing one of history's greatest questions. How on earth were the pyramids built? The sheer scale of it all has fueled some pretty wild theories. We're talking lost technologies and yep, even aliens. But what's the real story? Was it visitors from another world? Some kind of forgotten super science, or was it something maybe even more impressive? Just us, human ingenuity on a scale that is almost impossible to imagine. Hey, welcome to AskDrift. If you love digging into history's biggest mysteries just like I do, it would be amazing if you took a moment to like and subscribe. It really does help us keep unearthing the answers to these fascinating questions together. Okay, so to really get why this is such an enduring mystery, you first have to appreciate the sheer scale of the project. The Great Pyramid of Giza, well, it isn't just a pile of rocks. It's basically a man-made mountain, and it's built with the kind of precision that would make modern engineers sweat. The logistics are so staggering, it just feels impossible. Let's just run the numbers for a second. We're talking about more than 2 million blocks of stone. The average block weighs 2.5 tons. That's about the same as an SUV, and remember, that's just the average. Some of the granite beams are up to 80 tons, and they built the whole thing at about 20 or 30 years. Seriously, how would you even begin a project like that? Now, the classic image we all have in our heads, probably from movies, is of thousands of slaves forced to work under these brutal conditions. But one of the biggest breakthroughs in modern archaeology completely shattered that myth. And it all started when we discovered who the builders really were. The idea of slave labor has been around forever, popularized by some early historians and of course Hollywood. But the actual evidence we found tells a completely different story. These weren't slaves, they were skilled workers who were paid for their labor, organized into respected, state-supported teams. And we know this because archaeologists have literally uncovered their village. It was a planned town with bakeries, breweries, and even medical facilities. When we study their remains, we find bones that were broken and then healed correctly, which tells us they received advanced medical care. They were organized into crews with these proud, fun names like the Friends of Khufu. They ate well, a diet rich in protein, and when they died, they were honored with proper burials right near the monuments they helped build. These people were valued members of a massive national project. So we know who built the pyramids, but what exactly did they build them with? The answer lies right in the Egyptian landscape, and a very clever strategy for getting millions of tons of stone. They used two main types of limestone. For the core of the pyramid, the bulk of it, they quarried millions of blocks right there at the Giza Plateau. Super practical, but for the outer layer, they wanted something special. They actually went all the way across the Nile to the Tora quarries to get this brilliant white limestone that once it was polished would have made the pyramids gleam in the sun. It must have been an absolutely breathtaking sight. And the level of craftsmanship was just, well, it was breathtaking. The outer casing stones were fitted together so perfectly that it's often said you can't even slip a piece of paper between them. This wasn't just about brute force, this was mastery. Okay, so you've got your skilled workers, you've got your millions of blocks sitting in quarries, some of them weighing as much as a small whale. Now comes the truly colossal challenge. How do you get them to the construction site? Well, it was a three-step logistical masterpiece. First, they cut the blocks out of the bedrock using copper tools. Then they hauled them on these huge wooden sledges. And here is a really cool trick they figured out. If you pour a little water on the sand right in front of the sledge, it makes it way easier to pull. It cuts the friction in half. Finally, for those special stones from across the river, they used the Nile itself as a superhighway, ferrying them over on barges. This brings us to the final and maybe the most debated question of all. How did they lift those millions of blocks higher and higher to create that perfect pyramid shape reaching nearly 500 feet into the sky? For the longest time, the answer was pure theory. But not long ago, archaeologists made a stunning discovery at an ancient quarry. They found the remains of a 4,500-year-old ram system specifically designed to haul massive blocks up a steep hill. It had a central ramp, flanked by staircases, and even post holes for a rope and pulley system. This was a total game changer, giving us our strongest physical evidence yet of how they might have done it. This discovery really supports two leading theories. The first one suggests they built a massive ramp on the outside of the pyramid, either a long straight one or maybe one that spiraled around it. The second, more recent theory proposes a clever combination, a short external ramp for the base, and then a hidden internal ramp that would have corkscrewed up inside the pyramid itself as it was being built. Which theory makes more sense to you? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. So when you put all the pieces together, the skilled workforce, the clever logistics, the sophisticated tools and techniques, the mystery of the pyramids really starts to dissolve. It stops being a story about otherworldly powers, and it becomes a story about human potential. The solution wasn't aliens or lost technology. It was something far more impressive, really. It was incredible project management, it was human collaboration, brilliant engineering, and a shared national purpose on a scale we can barely comprehend today. The pyramids are the ultimate monument to what we can achieve when we work together. And that leaves us with one final kind of inspiring thought. It really makes you wonder, what seemingly impossible challenge could we solve today if we managed to harness that same level of focus and unified purpose?